I am recording a very small or short session on the importance of CSR or corporate social responsibility in business management, and this one will be giving a small introduction to the topic, but we would be able to evaluate and discuss different points that relate to the topic of corporate social responsibility in business management. And I will be picking up Marriott Hotels as the case study, which is primarily trying to highlight key practices that Marriott Hotel does in terms of applying corporate social responsibility in practice. Right. So the key learning outcomes that we're looking at demonstrate the importance of corporate social responsibility in contemporary business environment. That is, sort of giving an introduction, discuss the different views on CSR within contemporary business environment. We have different views, so we have sort of look at what is currently trending in the field, discuss different benefits and challenges of CSR, and also we were looking at different business practices with specific reference to human resource practices that can be enhancing application of corporate social responsibility across organization at the corporate level. Right, first of all, let's start with the basic definition of CSR or corporate social responsibility. So as you can see, we have three or four different brief definitions. If I pick up the first one, which is simply looking at the idea of going beyond profit making. So the main essence of corporate social responsibility is simply to go beyond the idea of making profit and try to engage key stakeholders to be benefiting as well, including local communities, employees, and staff in general, as well as any specific party that is interested in the growth of the business, including charities, including media, including government. So any sort of party that is involved in the process of growth in that business. So going beyond the idea of profit making. Another definition which is showing to you that it is improving social and environmental conditions. So there is an interesting argument here around CSR, which is telling you that corporate social responsibility is not only for the organization itself, but the responsibility should go beyond, and that can be including, as you can see, environment and social elements. When we talk about environment, we're talking about key practices such as waste management, we're talking about recycling, we're talking about different initiatives that can protect the local or the global environment. And you can see, for example, there are even governmental initiatives to enhance environmental protection, and businesses have the option right now to follow those rules. However, later on maybe they will become more of a compulsory requirement where businesses have to follow. Until now, these practices are optional, but they are a great differentiator to how people, including customers, view businesses. Right, let's move to the next slide. The next slide is simply also providing other definitions of corporate social responsibility. And if I pick up the second one, for example, which says a commitment to improve community well-being through discretionary business practices and contributions of corporate resources. So there is something important we can realize in this definition, which is telling you that corporate social responsibility is a discretionary practice. It is not a legal practice. So for me to be responsible beyond my organization is not a legal requirement. It is an ethical requirement. And here there is a great difference between what is legal and what is ethical. Legal is what is set out by the government, and that should be compulsory, followed by every party, including organizations. Ethical is an optional practice, which may make me look a bit different in the eyes of the key stakeholders that I have, including my customers, to be a bit more attractive or maybe to attain a competitive advantage. So CSR is viewed as a discretionary activity or practice held by organizations to simply differentiate themselves and to gain a competitive advantage. And this is the catch here, where this might be a bit problematic or a bit interesting, where we will have the opportunity to discuss at a later slide, towards the end of the presentation. Now, based on that simple view or definitions that we had, we can establish that there are two different views around CSR. The first view, which is called the classical view, is simply telling you that management of organizations should only focus on the responsibility to maximize profit. So it is a simple classical view of operating a business. You run your business, you make profit, you maximize profit, and then all stakeholders, as a consequence, will benefit, because when you make more profit, you're more able to leave money in the bank, you're more able to employ other people or extend your employment practice, you're more able to open in new branches, for example. So therefore, automatically, all the other associated stakeholders will benefit directly or indirectly. And also for government, for example, when you have more profitability, they would be able to collect more taxes, for example. However, there is another view which is going a bit beyond than that, and it is called the socio-economic view. Now, the socio-economic view is considering management that should be going beyond that idea of profit maximization to the responsibility of protecting and improving social welfare. And here we're talking about employees, we're talking about local communities, we're talking about government, for example, which is involvement, for example, in different initiatives. We're looking into charitable activities, we're looking into environmental or social in general activities. So in this case, the business would not be primarily focused on profit maximization, rather they become more focused around different activities, including profit maximization. So profit maximization is not the only driver to operate the business. Rather, we have other responsibilities, as I have been discussing, including customer well-being or employee well-being or the local community at large, or even including initiatives of charitable activities. However, there is an interesting argument here which is telling you businesses exist for profitability, and that businesses should always maintain that practice. However, in order to reach that goal, you may also need to think about attracting customers in different ways. So unfortunately, sometimes CSR might be viewed as another marketing tool to attract customers. The case study, as I said in the beginning, that I have picked up is Marriott Hotels. And the reason, by the way, for me to pick up Marriott Hotels is not just only because I belong to both disciplines, business and hospitality management. I picked up Marriott because it is a service-based organization. And interestingly here, there's a great difficulty for service-based organizations to always have a competitive advantage, because simply the customer does not have anything tangible in their hands, and they're always looking for the extras to determine how their experience can be evaluated as they had from that hotel. So customers or guests go into hotels empty-handed, and they leave empty-handed, and what remains in their mind is the experience that they have viewed and the reputation they hear about the hotel, including the experience that they had during their stay. So based on their website, based on what they have stated according to their own publication in 2018, they are telling you that we are a very responsible organization, and we try our best to apply corporate social responsibility by engaging and empowering our own staff to deliver the best customer service, including guest service. They're saying also we are very serious about human rights, including trafficking and child exploitation. So therefore, as a result, they always provide ongoing training, continuous training for their own employees to be aware of these issues. As you know, a hospitality firm might experience different kind of challenges, including child abuse or sexual abuse sometimes. Maintenance of ethical and legal standards, and here we're not looking at legal, interestingly, only we're looking at ethical standards, which is something that is not required by the law. Ethical, you're just simply going beyond the legal requirements. And the Marriott Hotel simply is continuously providing different training and development opportunities for different range of staff, including senior management, middle management, and operational staff, to be fully aware of that, considering the matter that Marriott Hotel is an international group, and sometimes they might experience political corruption, for example, in some countries. And it would be really interesting to, to ensure that their staff are fully aware of these practices and the consequences that might emerge for the hotel. So establishment and maintenance of standards are important here, to protect the company and stakeholders around the company. Moving on, the other slide is telling you that, in relation to environment, the hotel is having a lot of efforts around reduction of consumption, water consumption, and energy consumption. And as they were promising that by 2020, they were hoping to reduce by 20%. Also, they're looking at greening their supply chain and building of the hotels. And in this case, they can extend their influence beyond their own hotels to include their suppliers, across different elements, buildings or maintenance or even food supply, for example. Also, they're talking about conservation, which is protecting forests and coming up with innovative solutions to maintain that, and especially that some of their resorts and their locations are based in green areas. And it would be important that they can consider how they can protect these areas as well, to go beyond the organizational responsibility to include the stakeholders around them, as we said. And that is applying the basic definition of corporate social responsibility. The last slide, in regards to Marriott case study, we're looking at society consideration, and that is including working in partnership with different charities, including Shelter and Red Cross. And simply, these activities are oriented with the main purpose of the hotel. So it could be about sheltering homeless people, it could be about fundraising activities for different disasters, at a global level, not just at a local level. And that simply would enhance the brand image in the view of the local communities and guests in large. Moving on to the job creation opportunities. So Marriott Hotel is claiming that they are always looking forward to prepare the next generation by including youth and giving opportunity for different backgrounds to get training opportunities to get into the field. Um, Moving on here, the last point I would pick up here is around work and life balance. And Marriott Hotel is very clear about that and telling you that we should always maintain work and life balance for their own employees by having some sort of flexibility around schedules and training opportunities and consideration of different backgrounds, including single parents, for example. Right. And if we had a classroom discussion here, I would be mainly focused around giving a case study of Marriott Hotel as an extended case and allowing students to think about whether Marriott Hotel is following this classical approach or the socio-economic approach. So as we said, the classical approach was mainly oriented with um, profit maximization, and the socio-economic approach is simply going beyond the profit maximization approach. So simply, that discussion will be very interesting to enhance the students' awareness and understanding around Marriott Hotel, and whether they are purely following profit or following CSR activities beyond the organization, and that will enrich students' experience and enhance active learning. So more time can be allocated to this activity in class, and it would be really interesting if this topic, for example, was around their assessment. In this case, we can spend also additional time to link it with their assessment. Arguments supporting CSR and simply can be summarized as the following. CSR is telling you that there is a possibility to bring a long run profit making because we're enhancing the image into the customer's mind, and as a consequence, customers would be more loyal to the brand. We're looking at the public image, we're looking at the ethical obligation, not legal obligation, ethical obligation. And also we're looking at the public expectation because now customers are more educated and they're more aware about what are the possible harms that organizations can make on different standards, including economic and social standards. So that is really important, and I think CSR can support these views. Now, arguments against CSR. There are views which are telling you, sorry, businesses are existing for profit, and CSR can be viewed as a violation of profit maximization because businesses have to pay for these activities. The second point is delusion of purpose. As a business, I exist for profit, and that is my primary activity because I want to purely focus around economic productivity, and why do we involve ourselves in social aspects, and rather let's leave this for the charities or other stakeholders instead of us being mainly involved. The third one is cost because we have to pay for that, and the last one is lack of skills because we might make a wrong decision in regards to which certain initiative we should follow, and we might misrepresent the local interest simply, or the stakeholders' interest. Key lessons that we can learn, and this is to finalize, key lessons that we can learn to sum up what we have been talking about in relation to CSR. CSR should be a genuine desire, not just a marketing tool that we can apply, because simply it can backlash at us as an organization, and it can lead to loss of credibility and trust, because if we follow it as a marketing tool instead of being a genuine and authentic desire, customers can sense that there is something wrong here, and simply the company is trying to attract us for more business. And maybe we can lose even our own competitive advantage to attract customers. So it is really important here that CSR can be a genuine desire rooted into the strategy of the business, not just as another campaign that we follow for to ensure that our marketing or brand image can be highly successful. So it is really important that we can consider this. Other points: CSR can improve brand awareness and loyalty for customers. However, it should be, as we said, it should be genuine and authentic rather than being a marketing campaign only. The reason we looked at Marriott, because there is a big element of intangibility here, and because it is mainly service based, so it is really important always to see possible ways of differentiation, and CSR activities here can be a big differentiating factor to the way our customers can view us. So you can see now the importance of CSR and why we should have it into our own strategic approach within the organization. And this is the reference list. These are some references I had to look at in order to build these slides. However, you can extend, for example, to find about different case studies, and including Marriott or beyond Marriott. And it is really important that we can view why CSR is important, practical examples as we had here in relation to Marriott Hotel, and what are the possible outcomes, because we don't have to have some initiatives without having a possible outcome for that. And I think these slides have highlighted some of these possible outcomes. Finally, thank you so much for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.